Hello everyone, I'm Darren McGarvey. I go by the artist name Loki. I'm a hip hop artist, MC, rapper, whatever you want to call it. I also enjoy various forms of writing and performing. I get involved in a bit of activism from time to time. I work in the community and I'm studying journalism at the moment. I've been interested in all of those topics most of my life and found that those having an interest and a passion for those things has been what's helped me to avoid some of the major pitfalls of coming from what some people might call a deprived background. And so, as well as trying to advance myself, my own kind of career or whatever you want to call it, I also try and use whatever platform that I've got to represent some of the concerns that I hear in the community, so that culture reflects that back at communities who often look out to culture and don't see authentic representations of themselves anywhere and end up thinking that they're going mad, when really it's because just now culture kind of manufactures a certain way of looking at life, which is all about what you should be and what you're going to be and who you should like, and know what you are and where you are right now, and the fact that that's okay. Music-wise, I mean, I've always been interested in music and different kind of art forms. I like drama, theatre, I like drawing, writing. I got involved in rap when I was about 16, 17. My friend was bringing around hip-hop CDs and we were listening to them. And we really just, I think what we identified with, ironically, was this African American struggle where violence and poverty were big problems, police brutality was big problems, and genuinely not feeling listened to or heard by the wider kind of culture. And so we identified with that, as much as there are different extremes on either side of the Atlantic. We definitely tuned into that anger and that voice of rebellion. And what I found hip hop was great for was, like, with hip hop, there's no big high entry level. As soon as you start getting into hip hop, it's not soon until you actually start thinking, hang on, I'm going to participate in this. And that's what hip hop is. It's about, hip hop originated in communities where they had nothing. They couldn't afford instruments and they couldn't afford to pay to go to venues or music classes. They couldn't afford ballet shoes. So it was all about, let's take what we have. We've got these old records. We've got this old turntable. Let's create some technology using the things that we've got, so we can use two turntables and spin the same records back and forward, so we can keep the bit with the drum loop on, and these guys will dance to it. And let's paint on this wall, and let's plug it all into the electrical mains in the street, so we can have a big party in the ghetto, in the hood. So that is, that's quite an innovative culture, really, when you look at it, if you look beyond some of the violence of it. And I thought it was good because rap's quite a literal thing. I mean, you can get quite, you can enrich in it a wee bit as you go, but essentially it's about, if you're having a fucked up day, you can just get on a mic and say, I'm having a fucked up day, and it's very literal and easy to understand. So it was attractive to me. I started recording and writing obsessively, and once I got past my usage of the American accent, which it didn't dawn on me to use any other accent. It was only hip hop that I had been exposed to. So it's interesting that I just kind of instinctively gave up the one thing that relates to me and shows other people where I come from instinctively. I think that shows a wee bit about what consumer culture can do to people. But once I took on my own accent, or took my accent back, reclaimed my own accent, then I felt a stronger sense of self. Not so much identity, but I took ownership of who I was, and realised that my story and the way that I tell it gave me real value and currency in my community, helped me create opportunities with very little resources. And then for the last, that would have been 2001. 2000. My first mixtape, Loki Affair, my first album was in 2003, Welcome to the Ninth World. Had quite a big impact on the Scottish hip hop community. I think that was because I spent so much time honing my skills before I actually reviewed or announced myself to anyone. So as soon as I came out, I was able to compete with the people who were doing it for a long time. Of course, then I started drinking a lot of plaudits went in my head, and as much as I was still putting out a lot of music and engaging with like the audience and the fans, I was quite a disruptive influence in the actual hip hop community itself. These are all things you learn from it. Essentially, like the hip hop community kind of raised me in a way, because I was estranged from my family at the time. I was going through spells of homelessness, addiction, all the things, all the pitfalls, you know. Hip hop was there, you know, for all the trouble that I might have caused. Then it was there. It was a safety net for me. It made me feel part of something bigger than my own problems. That's partly why hip hop is so popular globally. A lot of the message of hip hop though is actually about protest music, giving a voice to the dissent and rebellion. What we have just now, or at least on the surface and mainstream, is like a globalised version of it where all of that is removed. So all you have are the other elements of hip hop, which is the fashion element, the behavioural attitude element, the violence element, and those things sell. A lot of the activist element of it, although it's coming back a wee bit now. There's a new wave of American mainstream artists, and you're seeing a shift from the kind of hyper-misogyny and violence which dominated hip-hop past the kind of golden age and into the 2000s. Lamar, J. Cole, all the artists that I mentioned, Joey Badass, you know, they don't just talk about the violence of it or glamorising it, but they also talk about sensitivity, they talk about the love. Things that I think are universal and important. So I think that that's starting to drip through to the younger generation, where maybe this idea of being hyper-masculine is now starting to be seen as maybe an old-fashioned thing. And that's interesting. And I think that creates space for independent underground artists who are already so far ahead of the mainstream in terms of exploring what hip-hop can do. But I think it gives them encouragement because the wider society starts tuning into the local hip-hop and going, well, hang on, I'm into this mainstream stuff, but you mean there's a more kind of raw or honest version of here and it's been here for a long time? And then they're like, hang on, I think I'll just start checking this, you know what I mean, and buying that, and then that helps us, you know, sustain ourselves. So I mean, I've been putting out music for a long time. My back catalogue is 17 albums. I have tried to represent hip hop culture and carry a positive message of hip hop culture wherever I go in other areas of creative industries, whether it be working with organisations like National Theatre Scotland or broadcasters, or in the political sphere or in the voluntary sector. Because now you're seeing a big deal about, oh, hip hop is good for people's mental health. It's like, no shit, Sherlock, you know. We knew that a long time ago before the Telegraph started writing about it. So I think people are starting to engage with the hip hop in its true form, and that is a wee bit more than fashion and more than certain behaviours.